Good afternoon everyone. Dear students, in our last lecture we discussed about the concept of photoelectric effect, the phenomenon of emission of electrons from metal surface when light of suitable frequency is allowed to incident on it. That phenomenon was named as photoelectric effect. We also discuss the historic background of that photoelectric effect, how it was discovered by Heinrich Hertz during his working on discharge by spark gaps, and we discuss the different wavelengths starting from violet to red, how photoelectric emission takes place, and how energetic electrons causes emission of photons or emission of electrons from the metal surface. Now we have to study or we have to learn the actual photoelectric effect experimentally. So what is experimental setup for this figure or for this part, that we have to discuss now. So experimental study of photoelectric effect. So there may be a long answer type question in your board exam which will give you 4 marks. It includes the circuit diagram, construction, working with different graph, explanation of the graph, relation between different physical quantities. So the experimental study consists of a circuit diagram like this. See here carefully. This is the circuit diagram containing an evacuated glass tube, capital G. W is quartz window to this evacuated glass tube. This evacuated glass tube consists of 2 electrodes, namely emitter, which is a negative electrode, and collector, which is positive electrode. This emitter is also called as cathode, collector is also called as anode or plate. These are inside this evacuated glass tube. This evacuated glass tube means there is vacuum within the glass tube where pressure is very small. These 2 electrodes are connected with this battery using this arrangement called as commutator and this rheostat, which is called as potential divider arrangement. And there are 2 meters devices, microammeter and voltmeter, which are used for measurement of current flowing through the circuit, and this voltmeter is used for measurement of PD or accelerating PD between this collector and emitter. So this is experimental diagram and its construction. So how we can explain in detail? So first one, it is construction or experimental setup, explanation of experimental setup. So first point here, the experimental setup consists of an evacuated glass tube with a quartz window containing 2 electrodes, namely emitter and collector, where this emitter is cathode or negative electrode and collector is anode or positive electrode. Next one. These 2 electrodes, the emitter and collector, are connected to voltage source using commutator and rheostat. These 2 electrodes are connected to high voltage battery through this commutator. See here carefully the working of commutator. These 2 points can be connected to these 2 points, or these 2 dots can be connected to these 2 points. Now if as given connections, if we connect this dot with this and this dot with this dot, it is clear that this terminal is connected to positive terminal of battery, means which one? It is collector, and if this dot is connected to this position, it is connected to negative terminal of battery. In another condition, if we pull this commutator key in upward direction, this dot get connected with this position and this dot is connected to this dot. At that time it is clear that this is from emitter is connected to positive potential and this collector connection will be given to negative potential, means we can change the connection of battery to this emitter and collector using this commutator key. That is the working of commutator. Now there are two devices here, microammeter and voltmeter. So how we can explain the working? Third and last part of construction is microammeter, which is connected here, and voltmeter are connected for measurement of photoelectric current and PD between emitter and collector as shown in figure. Here microammeter is used for measurement of current in the circuit and voltmeter is used for measurement of potential difference in the circuit. These two meters are connected for measurement of respective quantities. Now we have to discuss working, how it works, how the circuit action takes place. So first one, to start the circuit, first we have to allow the source of light to emit light and this emitted light must incident on this emitter plate through this quartz window, so that photoelectric emission takes place. So in first point you can explain the working when the light of suitable frequency, this word is very important, suitable frequency is allowed to incident on emitter plate E through the quartz window. What happens? The electrons are emitted. These electrons are collected at the collector, due to which current flows through the circuit. So as soon as light from this source enters through this quartz window and incident on the emitter plate, photoelectric emission takes place, means electrons are emitted. These are emitted electrons. They move with certain velocity towards the collector and collector is a positive electrode. Therefore, it attracts or it collects the electrons, and as it collects the electron, we get deflection in the microammeter, means microammeter shows deflection, that is current is flowing through the circuit. So this is actual working of this figure. So when light of suitable frequency incident on this plate, there is photoelectric emission. These electrons are collected by the collector and photoelectric current flows through the circuit. Now we have to vary this position of rheostat so that PD between emitter and collector get changed and we can get the increased or decreased values of current in this microammeter. But this experiment is carried out in following three steps. These are very important one. So this is actually construction only, construction and working. आता हा प्रयोग आपल्याला खालील तीन पद्धतीने पुढे न्यायचा आहे. तर विद्यार्थी मित्रांनो, एक्सपेरिमेंटल स्टडी ऑफ फोटोइलेक्ट्रिक इफेक्ट आपल्याला स्टडी करायचं आहे. याच्यावर तुम्हाला 4 मार्कासाठी बोर्डच्या एक्झाममध्ये प्रश्न विचारला जाऊ शकतो. कन्स्ट्रक्शनमध्ये काय काय लिहिणार? एक इव्हॅक्युएटेड ग्लास ट्यूब आहे, ज्याला की एक छोटी खिडकी आहे, क्वार्ट्स विंडो. याच्यामध्ये 2 इलेक्ट्रोड, इमिटर हा निगेटिव्ह इलेक्ट्रोड असतो आणि कलेक्टर हा पॉझिटिव्ह इलेक्ट्रोड असतो. याला तुम्ही ॲनोड म्हणू शकता, याला कॅथोड म्हणू शकता. हे या इव्हॅक्युएटेड ग्लास ट्यूबमध्ये बंद असतात. त्याच्यामध्ये व्हॅक्यूम आहे, प्रेशर याचं खूप कमी असतं. हा आहे कम्युटेटर. कलेक्टर आणि इमिटर ह्या कम्युटेटरच्या आणि रिओस्टॅटच्या माध्यमातून बॅटरीच्या पॉझिटिव्ह आणि निगेटिव्ह टर्मिनलला आपल्याला जोडता येत असतात. आता बघा, हे डॉट इथं जोडू शकतो, हा डॉट इथं नेता येत असतो कम्युटेटरच्या मदतीनं, आणि दुसऱ्या वेळेस हे डॉट इथं आणता येतो आणि हा डॉट इथं जोडता येत असतो. आता जर मी आहे तसे इथं जोडले तर काय होईल पहा. हे डॉट जर इथं जोडला तर हे कलेक्टरचं कनेक्शन आहे. कलेक्टर कशाला जोडलं जाईल? इथं बॅटरीच्या पॉझिटिव्हला. आणि हा डॉट आहे तसा जर इथं जोडला तर इमिटर कुठं जोडला जाईल? बॅटरीच्या निगेटिव्हला. मग याच्या किमती आपण बदलल्या की आपल्याला याच्यातून करंट पाहायला मिळतं. एकदा प्रयोग संपला हा वाढवत वाढवत नेण्याचा, नंतर काय करायचा? ही कम्युटेटर की वर ओढायची. अशी वर ओढली की ह्यांचा कॉन्टॅक्ट तुटतो आणि ह्या पिन इथे येतात. हे डॉट इथं जोडला जाईल आणि हा डॉट इथं जोडला जातो. आता हे जर इथं जोडलं तर बघा, कलेक्टर कशाला जोडलं चाललंय? बॅटरीच्या निगेटिव्हला. आणि हा डॉट जर इथं जोडला चालला तर इमिटर कुठं जोडलं चाललं? बॅटरीच्या पॉझिटिव्हला. म्हणजे पोलॅरिटी बदलल्या, कलेक्टर निगेटिव्ह होईल, इमिटर पॉझिटिव्ह होईल. म्हणजे हे कलेक्टर निगेटिव्ह झाला तर पळणाऱ्या इलेक्ट्रॉनला ते विरोध करणार, म्हणजे करंट हळूहळू कमी होतं. ते प्रयोगात आता शेवटी तुम्हाला लक्षात येईल. तर हे झालं याचं कन्स्ट्रक्शन आणि वर्किंग. याच्यातले कंपोनंट व्यवस्थित लक्षात ठेवायचे, त्यांची नावं व्यवस्थित लक्षात ठेवायची. आता हा एक्सपेरिमेंट खालील पद्धतीनं 3 पद्धतीनं आपल्याला पुढे न्यायचा आहे. त्या 3 पद्धती आपण नंतरच्या तासामध्ये बघूयात. ओके.